Hello and good evening to another scene set in the pioneer town of Edessa, at least for Kindred. As we zoom in on a very familiar cathedral chapel, it's better. And inside this cathedral, Ulric is placing a staff next to a coffin. One that Petruccio himself lies within. He has already checked these two wayward kindred to ensure that they're still in place and safe. The ghoul is not particularly pleased that Ulric has returned, but he acquiesced as he needed to return the staff to his dear father. Fabio still lies state, dust beginning to gather on his eyes. Ulric can't really imagine how torturous it must be. He deserves it. He places the lids back over each coffin and begins to walk out of the crypt, with Father Henri still standing guard. And as he does so, he spots a familiar face entering the building. And as Lady Madelain enters, she would also recognize that almost all the blood has been cleaned up. This area is not stained.
You will notice that Sister Madeleine gets a hunting role, so she has that. But she's not alone as she enters. You will hear a whisper, and you'll see another person, vaguely, but you'll hear them speaking in French as the merchants district. But
Okay.
you'll hear Frankish speak. French is not the same this time as it is presently, but she's speaking in a Franken tone, and she's speaking French to this person. You can make out that they are talking, and she's saying, "Please be a dear and stay outside for the moment. I will call for you, and if I need help, help or something." Okay, and you'll hear a fairly deep voice saying, uh, of course, sister," and he there is someone there, and she will then walk in and smile. She seems a bit more composed than when you saw her late last evening. She seems to have calmed down somewhat. Good evening.
Good evening. I've returned Petruccio's staff to him.
Good. It is very kind of you, but we have much to discuss. Come. And she points at one of the benches or pulpits, and she just sits down.
Ulric sits next to her, a little bit exasperated still, Though it doesn't seem to be particularly worse for wear. So I believe... Well, first... no. First, I would like to ask how you were doing. I know last night was not easy for you.
Well, our nature has changed somewhat, and we must adjust. This is a thing I still must adjust to, but at least no one was. They are both, in a sense, still with us, and that is always something.
Yes.
But uh, as I woke up, I began thinking uh, there is quite a lot to discuss what should do and should not do. They are both in a very deep sleep by now. And as far as I know, it takes time to wake. For the father, it takes time, a lot of time, potentially a lot of time. I would not know exactly, we would not know, but I'd also know that if the blood is of a certain potency, we should be able to resuscitate him quite rapidly. But then again, I do not know, nor would I pry in the good father's business to to say whether or not this would be effective by one of us, but it is worth considering at least.
I'm not sure how close Petruccio was to the first. I may be able to bring him back, but I'm not entirely sure. What of yourself?
I might as well, but I am as unsure as you are, since we have not really had a chance to know the father very well.
I've known him for some time, but the topic never arose between us. For, I suppose, to prepare for future instances like this, I am 9 steps descended. What of yourself?
I would actually appreciate I was left to sleep and have well, a natural as we can be, uh, awakening. But that is my provocative. But well,
All right. Are you deliberately avoiding the question?
oh, she's saying that if that comes up, she would rather not be woken prematurely, as she sees it. That's what she's saying. She would rather want to be in torpor and wake up by herself. That's essentially what she's saying.
I see. It is your choice.
I know it's not a choice that makes much sense, but I would appreciate that, at least. But that is why I brought a good friend, but more on that later. But what of our wayward plan friend? What of Osim? That seems to be a much more compli- complicated or complex question.
He will fall in line or he will die. I cannot risk him derailing the clan's objectives further.
I completely agree with you. And that is why I did what I did last night. You know that. But how do you intend to make him fall in line? He seemed quite resilient to suggestions, shall we?
He will. If he is to rise and walk among us again, he will be submitting to the blood oath. Perhaps the only oath he is even remotely capable of keeping, if that. He just snorts derisively.
He would
Which we will see.
still he would still be able to harbor resentment, would he not?
That is true. I would not.
And you would have to explicitly tell him all the things he cannot do, as far as I know. He would still be able to send letters to. Well, I am merely.
I see. That's if it is even remotely if you're indirectly or directly harming your dormitor, you have to roll for that. You don't have to tell them. That's dominate.
This is what Madeline says anyway, because she. That's what she says. And she says, he could be a lot of problem, and you know, he seems willful at least.
He did not have to talk of this publicly. He could have simply stated it privately.
That is why he must be corrected. I could, or shall we say, permission, begin to educate him on certain things. We would have to, of course, prepare for certain things, but
What preparations should we be making, and what is this education, if I may ask?
we would need to find a secluded place, and then we would simply, I would do my best to teach him what the clan would mean, what the clan is, that it is one of the most important things, a thing you cannot betray, because if you are alone, you better have good friends, and there are no better friends. She smiles a bit, chuckles. If you treat them right, of course, then your clanmates. If you spit in their faces, you betray a very, very deep trust of the blood. That is not easily rectified. I would show him why it's not easily rectified, and show him the severity of his mistake, and hopefully expand his mind.
I hope so. I would have a conversation with him first. See where he stands now, and if he still
We would have to subdue him. Chains, heavy chains and such, you know, even with a little blood in one's system. The beast is a very hard thing to contain. We would have to secure him very, very securely were we to awaken him.
I could obtain such materials, but I do not have a place.
How large is the crypt under here?
I can't answer that. Only Petruccio could, but we'll say it's of average size.
Of course. Well, no. If we were to put him in a secure place and tell the good assistant of our good dear father to stay out and never come close to him and stake him whenever we are not present, well, he would not be able to dominate him and the ghoul would stay away. We might be able to have him secluded in the crypt somewhere.
That is possible.
It will be some time. There are also other things that we must consider. Do we know if he has any closer friends than his clan?
Are we talking of a canines or ghouls here?
Both, but she looks back. I know, as I'm sure you do, that certain of our dearest friends and closest companions can be quite vivid in their pursuit of one. If they are first sensing a danger or uncertainty of one's whereabouts, I know quite a few people who would, well, I know one person would be very, a friend, she looks back again, a friend who would be quite concerned if I were not to be seen for some time.
I do not know of any, but it is most likely he has at least one.
He mentioned that we could meet him at I think a bordello or a brothel. Did he not? The Blooming Rose, I think it was called. I think so.
I'd like to give it some time. A bond will not wear off easily.
Well, we need to
But if
make
we
sure.
can at least locate and name his retainers, maybe this is information you can receive from him personally.
Well, I have seen some of the tenacity of the ghoul, as we would say.
Maybe we can salvage something from him at least,
Well,
even if he
I
were to
just
die
want
or not.
I just want to avoid the situation where the clue is left and the ghoul finds the clue and seeks out someone else who has heard of this church, and then the ghoul storms this place and finds him. By miracle, I know, but that would be. I have seen some who would seemingly tear through stone with their bare hands to get to a thing pertaining to their masters. I would not pass it against them that they would tear this city apart. I think that would not be a very fortunate thing for us, especially if it meant that he would wake up prematurely without us present.
Hmm. Do we have a plan going forward, at least for Orsini? Do you think we should discuss Petruccio's condition with everyone else, or anyone of the blood? That could perhaps wake him. Or should we wait? We do lose a vote.
I think one of us should attempt at least to wake him ourselves. If that does not work, well, Santiago said it best. We are, none of us, seemingly of the elders, so the chances are that our blood is probably quite equal in strength across the city, but then again, I would not know.
We'll see.
Well,
If our
there is
blood
one
is
we know who is
equal
probably,
supply, then, or equal strength, then I doubt there would be any in the city, apart from the child of a prince, and I would not dare ask.
and neither would I, she just says with a smile.
However, I believe we should still portray Petruccio as if he was still active, but secluded.
Indeed,
And we portray Orsini as well torn out,
as
the amateur and the provocateur.
yes, and they had been. I will do my best for the clan, of course. And
I
I
was
will,
wondering if you could aid me in meeting certain individuals across the city.
sure. Surely I can do that.
You are adept at such things, and I
I try
believe
my
by
best. She
presenting the...
smiles quite coyly. I try my best.
If we are to recover and regain our former reputation as masters of the world around us, then we must reassert a unified front. Orsini, well, whatever happens to him, I suppose, will be our story. He has either been punished and will fall into line, and that, as the representative of the clan, apologise for his provocative actions, and that he's fallen into line, or if he does not live past this night, then he's been removed from the city as a result of provocative actions against the clan and those without.
For the moment, I think we should not speak of it. I
For now.
think when we make a decision whether or not he's one or the other, although I would advise, I would at least try to educate him. Well, when we do, I think it is you who should declare it. If you are not the leader or the declarer of such thing on a clan basis, it would not support your claim for the barony. I could, of course, declare it on your word or decree, but
When I do, but if word does not get out to all kindred, as I doubt all the canines will be present in a given location at any one time, even though easier. If you could spread the word, I would appreciate it.
of course. But one of us should at least look at the blooming rose.
Yes.
Sure.
We should
I don't
check
know.
on Orsini's assets and make sure they don't go to waste. I would be happy for you to take control of the area, however, as I believe you would be better suited to such
Well,
running such an organization than I.
probably
I
not
mean,
run it as he did, but I will take a look. Although I cannot promise I will agree with such a location and its use. But
if
yeah, but and then
the
again,
clan can find a use for anything.
uh, if there was a place needing certain guidance and certain help, I'm sure that Orsini did not provide it, especially not in a way that I could. So I will take a look at this.
If you could locate any retainers he may have, it would be appreciated. This may include during re-education. He doesn't appear particularly happy that at this re-education. He appears receptive, if nothing else, to the idea. But he doesn't seem particularly pleased. This is not something he approves of. Wanton torture.
Just out of character, you may have guessed that, but she hasn't said anything. She's just said, tie him down in the basement, in a room secluded with chains.
It's fairly obvious.
So, yeah.
In hindsight, I may have given away the bet that I was torturing this person. Yes.
Just saying.
Ulric doesn't seem particularly happy about the concept, but seems receptive to the idea, if only because it seems fairly. Well, it seems to be the only way he may be able to get this individual to fall in line.
Lady Madelain at this point will you'll see that she will find the ghoul probably still there, and she'll just have a few words with him, nothing major. She'll just and you can tell that she speaks to him and she says, um, it um, sounds like a mother speaking to a child who's just hurt itself, like stumped its foot or um, like broken something or who needs comforting, who needs, and you can see she actually hugs him, and the ghoul is still clearly not happy, but she does her best to comfort him. And since this is not an STC, and I will not roll anything for it, but she will continue on the things she said as she left last night, when she had words with the ghoul. She'll try to calm him down, make him relax as best she can. Just do her best to calm him and ensure him that uh, he is resting quite peacefully. And as long as he rests, he cannot come to harm. And that's what she will. Should I roll?
Oh, charisma, empathy to see how calming you are to him.
Quite calm. 2 successes.
Okay, yeah, it's not as good as before, but yeah, he's perhaps it's a bit easier because you calmed him down before, and he seems to be standing watching. He's found something to do.
And she will also say that he's doing a good job, and he will be so proud when he wakes. And
he's still not particularly happy with you though. He's still staring daggers at you, but you do manage to get an ounce of understanding from him at least. He seems to be on board mostly with what you're saying, just not happy to be around you in general. He still kind of stares at Ulric. every now and then, but Ulric just, perhaps because Ulric just doesn't really go near him, or perhaps because he returned the stuff, he doesn't seem to pay Ulric too much mind. Ulric seems to have actually, now that you think about it, specifically be staying a specific distance away from the ghoul. Perhaps not to encourage any incidents. But,
yeah.
And Lady Madelain walks back to Ulric.
Yeah.
I have some individuals I must meet soon, but I'll be back within a few hours.
Oh.
I can obtain the necessary equipment for you if you require it. He kind of looks down at the ground. Again, you can tell that he doesn't find this idea pleasing. Hopefully, it will not come to that.
Don't worry. It will be my undertaking, not yours.
I thank you for not involving me in this. You are of my road now.
Don't worry. Do not worry yourself. And she looks, and then she just but if you she will give you if she haven't, I don't remember if she has already, but she will give you the location of a small shop in a small merchant's shop where she says, at this place, please, if you leave a message there, I will get the message quite rapidly after that.
I shall.
If we need to convene and meet regarding meetings with people. If you want to meet them themselves, of course, I will leave you to that. But I will also, not inside, but just outside, I will have during the lighter hours of the day, I will have someone to look.
Thank you.
So just make sure that this place is safe when we cannot be here.
I do have a soldier under my wing who may be able to help defend this place with your own.
I mean, I understand if your if your companions or associates are needed elsewhere, but I think it would help if not one stood an entire day, but one stood for some time and another stood for some other time.
That sounds worse. I will be on my way then, unless there is anything else you wish to discuss.
Not at all. We have some work ahead of us. I will head for the brothel, uh, if I can tonight. Although I just hope that. And she kind of trails off. Yes, I will see to it. I will make sure that there is not some ghoul gone crazy already.
Thank you. And he will yeah, he'll give you sweet hug. And he'll say, there aren't many of us left currently. We should take care of one another.
Oh, if you require more, she just puts her hand just on his chin, just makes sure that he looks at her. Don't worry, I will make sure you are well and safe, as I hope you do to me as well. And she just smiles. But yes, just so it's done, and she'll just say, Elaine, one moment, please. And a man will come in. This guy he's not giant, but he's clearly not one of the people who get shortchanged when it's eating time. Uh, this guy looks big. He is doing manual labor of some kind. That's quite clear. Uh, and he just comes in and he's just like there's like a hmm. uh, Yes, sister. And he'll just look at her. Please, this is a noble knight of the Knights Templar. So Ulric Ashwood. He is a family member of mine. He is he assists me and he has helped me. He has made sure that I have not come to harm. And you can tell that he's a little, as a ghoul sometimes be when there's someone that their dominator cares for. He's a little, but it's clear that he has a grudging respect, as he just like nods his head and says, "We, well, that is good. Thank you." He goes over and uh, just goes over and shakes your hand. He has a firm handshake, and he will just. This is Elaine for Joe. He will be from the morning looking for yeah, looking after this place. I think at midday, Mr. Sir Ulrich here will send someone to help to alleviate you, and so you do not have to stay here all day. I would not want you to be tired. And you can see this same kind of, not in the same way, but it's kind of the same way as she was with the ghoul before. She will just go over and just rub his chin, and he smiles, he perks up. Just, I do not want you to be too tired, and you won't have to stay here the whole day. I would not ask you something. And she just nuzzles him almost like a child. And she just, please. So, but he will send someone. So you will have the same job as a knight. Isn't that something? Eh, oh, I'm honored. He says, I'm honored. Thank you, sister. He just, but yes, go home and get some sleep. It will be some time before day breaks. And he just, uh, will, will you be all right to go home yourself? He just, yes, yes. And I have some things. I have some things I need to take care of. You know, last night was it was a bit of a event, but do not worry. You know how careful I am. We, and he just nods to you as well, and he begins to go out again. She looks at him. He's a good man.
This would appear so.
Uh,
You
yeah.
choose wisely.
Well, we have known each other for quite some time now, so. Well,
May I walk you to your destination, milady?
well, I would not imply your honor for. Well, you should not be seen in around such a place, no, should you? A Knights Templar near a brothel? And she's a little playful as she says that. That would be
I
possible. And with the company of such a, some might say, beautiful woman?
should at least do you the honor of walking you partway.
Well, I will not take responsibility for any slights against your honor if it comes to that, she says. But yes, we should be on our way. As she will just nod and let you follow her out.
Yeah, he, as Ulric walks out with Madelain in tow, he'll have his arm wrapped around you, and as the journey goes on, you might notice it slips down to your hips slightly.
Well, you do not seem to be too concerned about your honor, it seems. Hmm. Well, and she will at some point just look at you, and she will actually take your hand and move it further down. She'll just, well, I am very busy, but at some point we will have to convene and continue this discussion, I suppose. And as she'll just smile at you, and yeah, she'll just move your hand up again, um, and she will at some point she will see what she thinks is the blooming rose, and she'll, well, I think we are here, but I shall be on my way. Thank you
Yeah.
again, and yes, at midday, if you could have your man, if you're able to, then have your man come at midday, and my man Elaine will be returning home.
Yes. I shall do so. And the sandwich has been moving around all over the place this entire evening. Moves up to Madeline's cheek as he just moves her face slightly so that her left cheek is facing him, and he'll just softly kiss her on the cheek. Say, "Good evening, my lady."
Sir. And you'll notice that she doesn't say anything against the lady this time, which she has done. She has done pretty much every time you called her that. But she doesn't say anything against it this time. But there might be several reasons for that. But yes, the scene will come to a close as Ulrich heads into the night, and Sister Madeleine looks and watches the blooming rose